and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Citizens Advice in Portsmouth, and I'm here today to talk to you about how you can manage your debt. I suppose the first most important question is, what is debt? Well, the definition in the dictionary says that debt is something, especially money, which is owed to someone else or the state of owing something. Now, most of us have loans and credit cards that we use for one thing or another. These are debts, but if you're making repayments comfortably out of your income, they're not the source of debts that we're discussing today. If you're not sure if you should be worried about debt, it might help to think about whether you identify with any of the symptoms suffered here, or if you can answer yes to either of these two questions. I'm going to read them to you because the print's a bit small. The interest payments on my debts mean I'm surviving rather than enjoying life. I'm really angry with the companies that loaned me money. I used to be worried about borrowing money, but now I just don't care what I spend. I find it difficult to focus at work because the bills are always on my mind. I lie awake at night worrying about money. I have no idea how much I owe and I don't want to add it up. My creditors have me over a barrel. I shout at my kids or my partner whenever something money related comes up. I'm taking on more debt to pay what I already owe. Now the questions are, number one, are you struggling to pay all your basic outgoings, for example, your mortgage, rent, energy bills, and credit card minimums? And are your debts, excluding your mortgage, bigger than a year's after-tax income? If you're starting to identify with this, it might be helpful to know that you're not alone. Last year, Citizens Advice in Portsmouth assisted 2,027 clients. We handled 7,590 individual debts totalling over £8.5 million. We submitted 16 debt relief order applications with debts totalling £239,700. We assisted 11 clients with bankruptcy applications with debt totalling £1,094,654. We secured debt write-offs for 12 clients with debts totalling £203,600, and we handled £921,400 worth of arrears. So if this is you, what should you do? Well, first of all, don't ignore the problem. You can see a picture here of the man burying his head in the sand. That's the thing not to do. And it says here there was never one single problem in the world that's been solved by ignoring it. If you're finding it overwhelming, then don't despair. There is support for you to self-help or seek help. Now, if you decide that you'd like to have a go at self-helping, there are lots of things you can do yourself to sort out your debts. If you've got access to a computer, the following websites have lots of information and resources for you to use. Now, these websites provide template letters, detailed explanations of the different types of solutions or remedies for debt, step-by-step guides, and lots of useful tools. First one I'm going to show you is Advice Guide, which is our own website, and I think it's fantastic. The National Debtline website, the Money Advice Service website, and the Step Change website. I'll take you a little bit further into our own website, the Advice Guide website. Here you can see our homepage. If you want to go in and have a look, you can see along here, you can go in and just click a subject matter, and here's debt and money, or you can type something into the search engine, like bailiffs, for example. Going in a little bit further to some of the resources that we have, and this is by no means all of them, but just some of the ones I thought you'd like to see. You can see we've got masses of resources, particularly around action your creditor can take, borrowing money, banking, debt solutions, rent arrears, pensions, mortgage problems. There are also a huge amount of sample letters for creditors. There's one here for pretty much every situation. And further in, we've got a step-by-step guide on how to deal with your debts. It takes you right through every stage in detail, and also a step-by-step guide on dealing with your urgent debts. Now, you can't see it here, but on the live screen, you've got a little link down the bottom where you can chat to somebody live. So if you're struggling to understand something or it seems a little complicated, you can go and ask a question or ask for further support, or you can link to an email. Important piece of advice I can give you is you must talk to your creditors. If you speak to the organisations you owe money to, they might be able to help, either by letting you pay smaller amounts or allowing you to take a break from payments altogether. It's also important to tell the creditor or debt collector if you're vulnerable. Now, they usually deal with vulnerable people more carefully. You might be classed as vulnerable if you're disabled or seriously ill, if you're pregnant, are a single parent, are unemployed, or you have difficulty speaking or understanding English, or if you have mental health problems. It's also important to know your priorities. Some bills can cause you more problems if you don't pay them. If you don't deal with these bills, there's a risk you could either lose your home, be cut off from essential supplies like gas or electricity, have essential possessions taken away, or go to prison. It's rare, but it can happen. Priority bills are things like your rent, your mortgage, gas, electric, TV license, council tax, and any criminal court fine. It's also important to know what action a non-priority creditor can take. So a non-priority creditor can take you to court and get a court judgment for you to pay. If you don't pay the judgment within the time limits, they can then go on to enforce. And enforcement can be the use of bailiffs, getting money from your wages via your employer, securing the money you owe against your property, being paid the money by your bank from your bank account. And some creditors may serve you with a statutory demand, which if not defended, enables the creditor to make you bankrupt. Now you'll find that it's your non-priority creditors who harass you the most to pay them. They often send letters telling you all the things they can do if you don't pay, so it's easy to fall into the trap of prioritising them. Don't. Talk to them, of course, and explain your circumstances, but ensure they know you have priority debts that you must see to first. Again, you should act. If you receive any letters regarding court action or bankruptcy, do not ignore them, but seek advice immediately. If you seek advice straight away, then we can prevent the creditor getting to the stage where they can take this action. If you do nothing when you receive a letter about court action, the court has no choice but to allow a judgment against you to pay the whole sum you owe immediately. Just want to give a quick word of warning here. Some debts can become what's called statute barred. So if you don't acknowledge a debt in writing or by making a payment for a period of 6 years or 12 in some cases, a debt will become statute barred. So if you do have a debt that you've not had contact with the creditor about for some time, do not write to the creditor. Instead, seek expert advice. Now, when a debt becomes statute barred, it means it's not enforceable through the courts. The debt will still exist and the creditor can still ask you for the money, but the fact that it's not enforceable would probably want you to think twice about whether you should pay it or not. So as I said, seek advice. If you think self-help is not for you or it's a little overwhelming, you can seek help. And to do that, you should seek advice from a good money advice organisation. Now, a good money advice organisation will be regulated, many are free, and they will follow the ARMED process. So a good debt advisor will acquire information, respond to emergencies, maximise your income, establish a sustainable income and expenditure for you, and then discuss all viable options. So just to help you to understand those stages a little better, I'll go through each one. So starting with the first one, which is acquiring all relevant information. So this is the first step that any debt advisor should take before advising you on your debts. This includes collecting information about your debts, about your income and expenditure, your living arrangements, other household members, your health and their health, and your work and their work. And that list is not exhaustive. Although it may seem many of the questions an advisor asks may appear unrelated to your debt problems, there are usually very good reasons for asking the questions. If you're in doubt why certain information is being sought, you should ask the advisor why it's relevant. A good advisor should be able to explain why. The next stage is for the advisor to respond to all your urgent matters first, like court action, for example. So a good advisor would also check if you or other members of your family are facing any emergencies, like imminent eviction or repossession, bailiff action. And when there are emergencies like these, the advisor should take steps to address them immediately to ensure that you don't suffer unnecessary harm. Next, an advisor will look to maximise your income and minimise your expenditure. Now, this is the process of making sure you're receiving all the money you can be as income and spending only what you need to spend. This is a key part of the debt advice process. This should be done before you're advised on any debt option, as otherwise you may receive the wrong advice. Then an advisor will establish sustainable income and expenditure for you. Now, this will consider changes that are going to happen in the future, like retirement, the possibility of receiving an inheritance or drawing your pension, or children that might be about to leave home. Now, these things could affect the success of your debt solution. For example, it may stop you from being able to repay debts as per your agreement or cause a detriment to you during bankruptcy. And finally, the advisor will discuss all the viable options with you. Now, it's only at this point that it's possible to identify what the viable options are. These may include formal solutions like a debt relief order or bankruptcy, and informal solutions like an agreement directly with your creditors to pay a certain amount per month off your debt. Now, understanding the debt advice process is important. It means you can be an active participant in it and ensure all the necessary steps are completed. Now, if you decide you do want to seek help, you can come to us at Citizens Advice Portsmouth. Our phone number is here, as well as our email address. You can go to our website as well. There's some useful information on there, or you can contact us through social media. This is our amazing award-winning debt team. They've been recognised nationally for their expertise. Now, our debt team actually consists of 16 team members. 3 aren't in the photograph because they're new. Every member of our team has received mental health and domestic violence training. 4 of them are able to process debt relief orders online. All of them can assist you to make a bankruptcy application online. We have a translation service. We also run workshops for individuals and families on budgeting, choosing credit, paying your bills, and saving. These can be delivered online during COVID. We have 1 independent financial advisor who can advise on mortgages, pensions, and investments, and we also host pension-wise appointments. Now, you'll be reassured to know that it's incredibly unusual for bankruptcy to require court attendance now, and debt relief orders don't require court attendance. Both options will write off all, if not most, of your debt. So what to expect from our money advice team? Our fully qualified team is friendly and helpful. They do not judge. Our team understands how easy it is to fall into debt. Our debt advice is free, confidential, impartial, regulated, and specialised. And we all know that debt problems don't tend to come in isolation. You may have debt as a result of losing a job or a family breakup, or your debt may have caused other problems. So our money advice team is surrounded by another team which can help you with other issues. And the rest of our team consists of 18 dedicated and highly qualified paid staff and 14 dedicated and trained volunteers. Between them, they provide advice in the following areas: immigration, housing, employment, benefits, and consumer law. We have projects that focus on people that have a diagnosis of cancer in their family, serve or have served in the armed forces, need support getting home from hospital, or are victims of hate crime. We also deliver a general information service that provides initial support with almost any issue. Now, if you prefer to go somewhere else, there is another organisation in the city that gives advice called Advice Portsmouth. And if you'd like to speak to an advisor there, you can call them on this number or text them, and their email address is here. Now, Advice Portsmouth have a team of 7 paid and 2 volunteer generalist advisors who can advise on debt. One specialises in domestic violence and another is able to process debt relief orders. They follow the ARMED process. In addition, a Your Money workshop is available to residents and is run by their Your Money coordinator, Deanne Webber. There are 6 different sessions and residents are free to attend one or all sessions. Children are invited to attend a family learning session which they like to run during the school holidays. There are some other agencies that can help you. So if you're a city council tenant, you can get debt advice and support from your housing officer who has access to specialist money advice. And if you're a housing association tenant, then your housing association may also be able to provide debt support. Most important things I want you to remember from today's presentation are that you're not alone, that you should act straight away, either by self-helping or seeking help, but be armed when seeking advice. But most importantly, remember, it's not hopeless. There are many remedies and plenty of expert support available in Portsmouth. Thank you for listening. All of the links discussed in the slides today will be provided to you in the description below. Bye-bye.